Hi guys, Aris, Hardware Busters. The GameMax LGB 1050 Pro has 4.5 stars average review score on Amazon.com with close to 7,000 reviews. So it triggered my interest to review it and see if it is good enough as a PSU. I know that many of you don't trust the reviews posted by plain users on popular electronic shops like Amazon, but the fact is that these reviews affect many people's decisions before they buy a product. When you see a product with a 4.5 out of 5 star average score with close to 7,000 reviews, it is only natural to assume that this is a good product that made almost everyone who bought it happy. So why not buy one too? This is a tricky question, and in this review I will find out whether the GameMax LGB 1050 Pro is as good as it promises. This is a tricky question, and in this review I will find out whether the GameMax LGB 1050 Pro is as good as it promises. Look at these photos. This is an easy and lame way to get 5-star reviews on Amazon quickly and without any effort. So beware of Amazon reviews. They don't always depict the full picture of a product. A note here, in the photo somewhere here, the email address is not official, not to draw much attention. These are tactics that grey shade brands would employ, and basically they are pushing you to be a part of the scam. Are you sure you want to get such products? Just think about the level of support you will have if you base your purchase on fake Amazon reviews. You are also a victim of this scam, so don't fall for it for 20 bucks. This is from an Aris game product, but GameMax, here is the photo, also did something similar, as some users informed me. Back to the product, the unit is certified by Cybernetics, meaning it had to pass some strict tests to take the respective badges. Buying a unit that an independent certification agency has tested is always the wise thing to do. Still, it will be best to keep in mind that certification reports are not reviews, meaning that the certifications agency as Cybernetics cannot act as a review site, expressing its opinion about a product or comparing with similar spec products. Certifications are given when products meet specific criteria. Although Cybernetics runs way more tests than the ones required for certification purposes, it still cannot include everything in the report. This is why we have sites like Hardware Busters, which can deliver detailed reviews on various products and offer opinions and comparisons. Box. Since I had an early sample of this product, there are no photos of the retail box. The samples were sent in plain cardboard box, but to not leave you complaining, here is a photo of my cat Tom taking a nap. The dimensions are large enough for a big PCB where airflow won't be compromised. The fan grill has large enough perforations that assist in good airflow, while the exhaust grill follows the typical honeycomb design. At the PSU's front side, beside the AC receptacle and the power switch, we also find a button for setting up the RGB lighting. On the back side, my sample lacks the RGB socket for connecting the PSU to a compatible mainboard, from where its RGB lighting can be synced with the rest of the system's RGB lights. I had an early sample, as I mentioned before, so not all cables were shipped with my sample. But anyway, this is the table with the cables and connectors that retail units are shipped with. The number of provided cables and connectors is adequate, and all cables are long enough, with the distance between the peripheral connectors being sufficient to 150 mm. I couldn't find any information on the gauge thickness for the ATX, EPS and PCI Express cables, so I can only assume that they use the same gauges as my test sample, that is 16 AWG. Part analysis. My sample uses high quality Japanese bulk cap, while on the secondary side it uses TYPO caps, which are considered to be a decent choice. I'm not a big fan of Tipo SC caps, but most of the filtering caps on the secondary side in this unit are polymer ones which are tolerant to high operating temperatures. The FETs on the primary and secondary side are from less known brands. I would prefer to see Infineon FETs here, but this will tremendously impact the production cost, so I can fully understand why they didn't use such expensive FETs. No information about the unit fan is available since its label only shows a logo and nothing else. GameMax speaks of an FTB fan, but I cannot be sure without taking it completely apart to check the bearing, which is impossible now because I simply don't have the review samples. They took them away. The soldering quality is mediocre to bad, probably because I had an early sample. It can be better now in the newer production batches, but I cannot be sure again if I don't get some of the new samples and check them. The design looks good though, and the PCB has ample space for good airflow. I like the lack of cables and the small heatsinks with the perforations also look nice, but I don't know how effective this design of a heatsink is. The main transformer's top side is misaligned, showing rust in the assembly of this specific sample at least. Regarding the design, on the primary side, besides the APFC converter, two FETs arranged in a half-bridge topology chop the incoming signal to feed the main transformer, which provides power to the secondary side. An LLC resonant converter is also used to minimize switching losses. 8 FETs handle the 12-volt rail on the secondary side, and 2 DC-DC converters generate the minor rails. And let's go to performance. Load regulation. It should be within 1% at 12 volt, ideally close to 0.5% deviation. On the minor rails, load regulation is decent enough. Ripple. Ripple suppression doesn't stand out, but it is good enough. Ripple at 12 volt is lower at the 110% test than the full load test because the unit couldn't complete the 110% load test. It shut down after 1 minute bout of load, so this is why Ripple was lower here. If it ran for the 4-5 full minute period, Ripple will be definitely higher. Transient response is exceptional at 12 volt. Only at 3.3 volt it doesn't do so well since it drops below 3.2 volt in the second test, but still it passes all tests. I didn't expect such good transient response, and in the tougher 8X version 3.x transient response scenarios, the 12 volt rail performs very well here, losing only to the first player NGTP 1000 and Galaxy Omega GLX 1000 models, which however have lower capacity, so the 200% load for them, for these units, is 2000 watt, while for the GameMax unit is 2100 watt. Average efficiency is satisfactory at 115 volt. At 230 volt, things don't look so good compared to other similar spec units. Protection features. The first sample died early in the 20% load test and at a low temperature, 35 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure why, because I didn't have the time for a proper failure analysis, and the second sample couldn't run the 110% test for more than 1 minute. So I didn't risk evaluating the protection features of this unit. Suppose the PSU dies on the test bench, in that case it can easily take with it my super expensive AC source and power analyzer. So I have to take calculated risks regarding protection features evaluation, and needless to say that this GameMax unit loses all points here. Since there is not much to see here, what about the video to make you laugh a bit? The average noise output is low enough for the standards of this category, staying below 30 decibels at both voltage inputs, 150 volt and 230 volt, that I tried. Fan noise maps, I will comment the 115 volt. There are not enough fan speed modes. At up to 90 watt at 12 volt, the unit is within 20 to 25 decibels, and from 90 watt and up to 600 watt at 12 volt is in the 25 to 30 decibel zone. With 600 watt, noise exceeds 30 decibels, but not by far. GameMax should ask the OEM for the better fan speed profile, including more speed steps. Overall performance is pretty good at both voltage inputs, although the unit lost almost all points in the protection features evaluation. It only received a bonus there for the NTC thermistor and the relay that it has. I had seen some older GameMax units that weren't good at all, the best I can say for them. That said, the GameMax HB 1050 Pro is a completely different story. Although the first sample died randomly at a low test with only 35 degrees Celsius, and I said to myself when this happened, okay, this is the GameMax I know. Anyway, the second sample pulled out almost all tests, it couldn't operate at 110% load for the required period to finish the test properly, which might be good though, since it means that the platform is effectively protected. Nonetheless, I wasn't brave enough, yeah, I admit that, to evaluate the protection features properly, since I could not risk my super expensive equipment, guys. When the PSU showed signs that it could not handle this test. I know you want complete information, but unfortunately I will be left alone if any of my AC sources die. When I tested this unit, I already had one of my AC sources on RMA waiting several months until it arrived, so I couldn't risk losing another one to this GameMax unit. In any case, the GameMax HB 1050 Pro looks to be a decent unit, offering a great deal of features at only $140, and at the time of the review there is an extra $15 coupon lowering the price to $125. The HB 1050 Pro is definitely an improvement over the older GameMax units, offering top transient response and meeting even the demanding ATX version 3.x transient response requirements. I should also point here that the OEM that makes them, which most likely looks to be Zhumeng, also makes several Aris game models, which are highly popular on Amazon. I couldn't help but read some reviews on Amazon where some users complained about the lack of proper support for GameMax products. It would be best always to consider the support you will get for a product you are interested in buying. Unfortunately, in most cases you cannot be 100% sure whether the support will be good until you have first-hand experience. I cannot know if GameMax support is good or not, and I cannot also know how the unknown fan and fetch will age. This is something requiring torture testing for several months or years, which is by far beyond the scope of any review. At some point, I might ask for more GameMax samples for evaluation and review, and this time I will try to be brave enough to run all protection features tests. This will depend on the sample, of course. If you want to check alternative offerings, ATX version 3.x compatible PSUs, you can read the article on hwbusters.com. Also, the full review of this PSU is on this site as well. And this PSU normally goes for $140. I remember that the last time I checked, the Thermaltake GF-A3 1200 unit goes for around $150. So with $10 more, you can get a very good ATX version 3.x compatible unit from Thermaltake. We have a Discord server if you want to join us there and come in contact directly with us. We have a Patreon page if you want to support us. And till the next video. Bye bye.